Hello friends, welcome to a new chapter today. In this chapter we are going to learn about polycystic kidney disease. So these are the pictures which are taken from Nectar's Atlas. So in this picture you can see many large bubble like structures which are autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease superiorly. And if you do a cross section of this, you see multiple cysts which are in different sizes and different shapes. Okay, so this is polycystic kidney disease. So we will learn some points about polycystic kidney disease. So if you see the polycystic kidney disease, it is divided into two types. We have autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease and autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease. Okay, so if you see, autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease is most commonly seen in adults, whereas autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease is most commonly seen in children. So first we will learn about the autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. So in autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, here there is 90% of the cases are autosomal dominant. Okay, in the autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, if you see, 90% of these cases are autosomal dominant, whereas 10% of these are due to spontaneous mutation. So in the autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, here you see mutation in this gene, which is polycystic kidney disease PKD1 and PKD2 gene. Here you see mainly the mutation which is seen in PKD1 and PKD2 gene. Okay, PKD1 gene is on the chromosome 16, whereas PKD2 gene is on the chromosome 4. This PKD1 gene will encode the protein polycystin 1, which is seen in 80% of the cases, and this will encode polycystin 1, which is a receptor like molecule, whereas PKD2 will encode the protein polycystic 2 in 15% of the cases. Then if you see, this polycystic 2 is calcium channel protein. Now due to the mutation, there is abnormal apoptosis, there will be epithelial dedifferentiation, and this will also encode for growth factor, and there will be cell polarity. Whatever the reason is, there will be at the end increased cell proliferation. This increased cell proliferation will produce vasopressin. Okay, this vasopressin will causes increase in cyclic AMP. So once there is increase in cyclic AMP, this increase in cyclic AMP will lead to the activation of aquaporin and chloride channels. These aquaporin and chloride channels causes cyst formation. These cysts are nothing but polycystic kidney disease, and this will also cause secretion of fluid secretion into the tubule. Okay, in about 60% of the cases, this will lead to end stage renal disease by the age of 60 years. So this protein polycystin is main culprit in this autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. So this polycystin is not just produced in the kidney, but this polycystin is also present in other cells, like it is seen in liver, seminal vesicle, pancreas, and vasculature. So first, the clinical features. The clinical features are, this is mostly asymptomatic. Here the patients are mostly asymptomatic up to 4th or 5th decade. Here you see that they are asymptomatic up to 4th or 5th decade, and renal failure occurs after 20 years of age. Here the patient presents with abdominal discomfort, abdominal mass, hematuria, UTI, and incidental finding of discovery of hypertension is seen in these patients. If you were asked what is the most common finding in these patients, most common presentation is hypertension, whereas most specific or most common presenting feature is hypertension. Most common symptom is pain due to the distension of the renal capsule. When the polycystic kidney disease grows in size, this can cause distension in renal capsule, thus resulting in pain. That is the most common symptom. Then if you see the cysts, extrarenal manifestations also occur in this state. So if you see in the extrarenal manifestations, you will see cysts in various places. So first, in the cysts in the vasculature, This cyst in the vasculature presents as saccular aneurysm, which is seen in anterior cerebral artery, or it can also be seen in berry aneurysm, which is seen in more than 10 millimeters in size. There can be saccular aneurysm in anterior cerebral artery or berry aneurysm more than 10 millimeters in size. There can be aortic root dilatation, and annular dilatation can also be there. So whenever there is increased aneurysm, there is increased risk of subarachnoid or cerebral hemorrhage. So that is in vasculature. Then in the CVS, it causes, most common symptom in the CVS is mitral valve prolapse. Most common symptom in CVS is mitral valve prolapse and aortic regurgitation. Then what are the most common extrarenal manifestations? Overall, most common extrarenal manifestation is hepatic cysts is the most common extrarenal manifestation. This is also in the GIT, it is associated with colonic diverticula, and it is also associated with abdominal wall and inguinal hernia. So you see colonic diverticula and abdominal wall and inguinal hernia. All these are the incidental findings which you see in USG. No cysts are seen in lungs. In the lungs you will not see any type of cysts. So these are the important things in autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. Now if you see the diagnosis, the main diagnosis is you will have to see that there is positive family history, which is important, and you will do USG abdomen. In the USG abdomen you will see the presence of cysts, and that presence of cysts, for that we have a criteria which is called as Raven's criteria for the demonstration of cysts. So what do you see in this Raven's criteria? So in this Raven's criteria you will see that there are cysts which are present, and these cysts are, this is important, okay, and these cysts, if there are presence of 3 or more cysts in one or both the kidney, if there are 3 or more cysts in one or both the kidney, this at the age of 15 to 39 years, then we can call it as autosomal dominant kidney disease. Or if there are more than 2 or more cysts in each kidney at the age of 40 to 59 years, or if there are 4 or more cysts in each kidney at the age of more than 60 years, then it is diagnosis. Then what is more sensitive than USG? CT scan is more sensitive than USG. You can also do genetic linkage analysis and mutation screening also, right? So this is important in diagnosis. So this is called as a criteria was given name for this, which is called as Raven's criteria, which is very important. What is it? This is the Raven's criteria which we are seeing here. So this is the Raven's criteria, which is the most important criteria for diagnosis of this autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. Okay, this is important. Next, if you see, next important thing in the treatment. In the treatment, if you do an intravenous urography, you see the presence of spider leg appearance. Okay, intravenous urography, you look spider leg appearance. I will show you the pictures of these. Okay, then if you see the treatment, first you will have to control the hypertension. First and foremost, control the hypertension, and here the target BP is 130 by 80 millimeters of Hg. You will have to do angiotensin receptor blockers or ACE inhibitors for control of hypertension. Then you can do cyst drainage. In the cyst drainage, we can do percutaneous aspiration, or you can add sclerotherapy also. Percutaneous aspiration can be done, or you can do sclerotherapy with alcohol can be done. Then in the treatment you will have to do surgery. So in the surgery we have some surgery called as Rausing's operation. In this Rausing's operation we will have to deroof the cyst. So in this deroofing of cyst, first you will have to expose the kidney and you will have to open the cyst, and once you open the cyst you will have to evacuate the fluid in the cyst, and the cut edge is marsupialized. So this surgery is called as Rausing's operation, but it is not done now, so you don't need to remember it. But if the main complication or most common cause of death in these patients is chronic renal failure, because chronic renal failure is the most common complication in this patient. So this whenever the patient is in chronic renal failure, what is the treatment of choice? Treatment of choice of any person in chronic renal failure is renal transplantation. Okay, so this is about the treatment. Now once you have learned about the treatment, what are the complications that can occur? The main complications of this are, there can be infection of the cyst. There can be, whenever the infection, the most common organism causing infection of the cyst is E. coli. So whenever there is infection, then you will have to treat the situation with carbapenems or ciprofloxacin. There can be rupture of the cyst. Whenever there is rupture of the cyst, the fluid in the cyst enters the peritoneal cavity, leading to peritonitis. It can also cause nephrolithiasis. This nephrolithiasis, most commonly it is due to uric acid stones followed by oxalate stones. So these are the common complications of polycystic kidney disease. We have important risk factors also. So what are the important risk factors of polycystic kidney disease? The most common risk factors of polycystic kidney disease is younger age of diagnosis. So this can, here at diagnosis there is younger age, and it is more common in male sex, and the presence of polycystin gene is important, and there is hypertension obviously. So all these are the risk factors of polycystic kidney disease. Then what do you see grossly? How do you see this polycystic kidney disease grossly? Grossly, I have shown you the gross image already. In that you see bilaterally symmetrical, heavy, lobulated kidney. Even on the external surface you see external cysts. These cysts are of varying sizes. This is important. They are of varying sizes and filled with clear straw colored fluid. They are of varying sizes and filled with clear straw colored fluid, or sometimes they can be filled with reddish brown material. You see presence of renal calyces, and renal pelvis is distorted. You cannot see a proper renal callus, nor can you see a proper renal cyst. One important thing is, this renal cysts do not communicate with the renal pelvis. Okay, if you see microscopically you see presence of glomerular tuft. The cysts will have glomerular tufts, and these cysts arise from all parts of the kidney. And if you see the intervening tissue, the tissue in between will be normal. So let me show you the pictures. And so these are the pictures which you see. So this is the picture of polycystic kidney disease. This is the autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, where you see many cysts here in the kidney. Similarly, this is the ultrasound picture of polycystic kidney disease. Here this is the Swiss cheese pattern which you see in polycystic kidney disease. Similarly, this one. And so this is the histological picture showing the many cysts in the kidney. So this is about the polycystic kidney disease. And if you see the intermediate tissue, see, this is a case cyst. These are the cysts. The between the cysts, this thing is normal. The tissue between the cysts is completely normal. So these are the cysts which you see in polycystic kidney disease. Okay, so this is about polycystic kidney disease. Thank you guys for watching my lecture. Thank you.